Basic terms. Using the correct terminology. One of the challenges facing home inspectors doing the electrical portion of home inspections is getting the terminology right. Many home inspectors end up looking inexperienced or unprofessional by not knowing the correct verbiage. For example, a wire is more properly called a conductor. Refer to the InterNACHI Glossary of Home Inspection Terms found at nachi.org/glossary. Here is a list of commonly used terms and their correct usage. Understanding these terms will help the inspector recognize improper wiring, especially in the case of grounded and ungrounded conductors. The common terminology inspectors use for a hot or live wire is more formally referred to as an ungrounded conductor. The common term neutral wire is more formally referred to as a grounded conductor. A panel ground wire is more formally referred to as grounding electrode conductor, or GEC. A grounding wire is formally referred to as equipment grounding conductor, or EGC. A grounding rod is more formally referred to as a grounding electrode. The main breaker is more formally referred to as the service disconnect. The main panel is more formally referred to as the service or distribution electric panel board with a service disconnect. What a home inspector might commonly refer to as a sub-panel is more formally referred to as a distribution panel board without a service disconnect. A panel cover is more formally referred to as a dead front. Wires to outlets are more formally referred to as branch circuit conductors. What you might commonly refer to as an outlet is more formally referred to as lighting and/or receptacle outlet. And what you might commonly refer to as service to remote panel is more formally referred to as feeder. Ampacity. The maximum current in amps that a conductor can carry without exceeding its maximum temperature rating. Appliance. Utilization equipment that performs a function such as clothes washing or air conditioning. AFCI. Arc fault circuit interrupter is a device that provides protection from the effects of arc faults by recognizing arcing and de-energizing the circuit when an arc fault is detected. AWG, or American Wire Gauge, is a standardized wire gauge system used since 1857, predominantly in North America, for the diameters of round, solid, non-ferrous, electrically conducting wire. The cross-sectional area of each gauge is an important factor for determining its current carrying capacity. Increasing gauge numbers denote increasing wire diameters. AWG tables are for a single solid round conductor. The AWG of a stranded wire is determined by the cross-sectional area of the equivalent solid conductor. Because there are also small gaps between the strands, a stranded wire will always have a slightly larger overall diameter than a solid wire with the same AWG. Bonded. Connected to establish electrical continuity and conductivity. Branch circuit. A branch circuit is a general term that includes the conductors that run between the final overcurrent protective device in the panel board and an outlet such as a receptacle outlet or a lighting fixture. It is the conductor between the final overcurrent device protecting the circuit and the outlet. This term helps distinguish a branch circuit from a feeder, which supplies power to the final overcurrent devices. The branch circuit wiring enters the panel board cabinet through cable clamps installed in the knockouts. Several kinds of clamps are available, including metal and plastic. The lock nuts on the clamps should be tightly secured. Cabinet. A cabinet is a mounted enclosure with a swinging door. Circuit breaker. A device designed to open and close a circuit by non-automatic means and to open the circuit automatically when there's an overcurrent. Current. A measurement of the rate of flow of electricity through a conductor. Current is measured in amps. Dead front. The door or cover of the panel board cabinet is the dead front. The dead front of a panel board cabinet protects a person from live parts within the panel board. A dead front is without live parts that are exposed to someone on the operating side of the equipment. According to the InterNACHI Home Inspection Standards of Practice, the home inspector is not required to remove the panel board cabinet cover or dead front. Device. A unit of an electrical system other than a conductor that is intended to carry or control but not utilize electricity. Examples of devices are switches and thermostats. Disconnecting means a device by which the conductors of a circuit can be disconnected from their source of supply. Feeder. The feeder is a circuit of conductors between the service equipment and the final overcurrent device. Circuits feeding subpanels are called feeders. The conductors between two overcurrent devices are called feeder conductors. kcmil. In North America, conductors larger than 4/0 AWG are generally identified by the area in thousands of circular mils, or kcmil, where 1 kcmil equals 0.5067 millimeters squared. The next wire size larger than 4/0 has a cross-section of 250 kcmil. GFCI, Ground Fault Circuit Interrupter, is a device that protects a person by de-energizing a circuit when a current to ground exceeds the value of the device. Ground wire, the equipment grounding conductor, or EGC, may be commonly referred to as the grounded conductor, grounding conductor, or ground wire. The equipment grounding conductor is the green or bare copper wire. It is not intended to carry current except in case of a ground fault. Hot wire. The ungrounded conductors are typically referred to as the hot conductor, a current-carrying conductor. Line. Line refers to the incoming power. The line side of the equipment will be where the source of the power is terminated. Load. Load refers to the outgoing power. Main breaker. The main service disconnect, the main disconnect breaker, is the master switch for the panel board. It shuts off the power to everything downstream, including the hot bus bars and all breakers mounted to them. All electricity entering a house goes through the main breaker. In an emergency, this main disconnect can be turned off to turn off all power to the house. The main breaker is the primary overcurrent protection device for the electrical system and is rated accordingly. Meter. The meter base is where the utility mounts its meter into the meter socket. Neutral wire. The grounded conductor of the service, feeder, or branch circuits is commonly called the neutral. It is required to be white or gray. Neutral is used interchangeably with grounded conductor. The grounded service conductor is what we call the neutral, a current-carrying conductor. Many inspectors refer to all grounded conductors in branch circuits as neutral conductors or neutrals because they all connect to the grounded neutral conductor in the service. Outlet. An outlet is a point on the wiring system where current is taken to supply equipment. Examples of outlets are receptacles, light fixtures, smoke detectors, and appliances. A switch would not be an outlet because no current is taken at a switch. Current simply passes through a switch. Overcurrent protection device. An overcurrent protection device is set to open a circuit when the current exceeds a set value. Overcurrent protection devices are usually circuit breakers and fuses. Panelboard. The panelboard contains bus bars, terminals, overcurrent protection devices, and mounting hardware designed to be enclosed in a cabinet or box. In residential wiring, the panel board is usually not distinguished as a separate piece of equipment from its cabinet because it is normally installed inside the cabinet enclosure at the factory. Receptacle. A receptacle is a contact device installed at the outlet for the connection of an attachment plug. Receptacle outlet, an outlet where one or more receptacles are installed. Romex. Romex is a trade name for a type of NM cable. Romex is the most commonly used wiring in homes. The proper name for this cable is non-metallic sheathed cable. A 14-2 with ground would contain 3 14-gauge conductors, 1 black insulated conductor, the hot, 1 white insulated conductor, the neutral, and 1 bare conductor, the ground wire. Service. The conductors and equipment for delivering energy from the service utility to the wiring system of the home. Electric service is a general term used to refer to all of the electric service conductors and equipment. The service begins at the load end of the service drop or lateral and ends at the panelboard cabinet that houses the main disconnecting means. SE and SEU cable. Service entrance, or SE cables, are used for services. SER and SEU are 2 common types of SE cables. Type SE, style SEU service entrance cable is primarily used to convey power from the service drop to the meter base and from the meter base to the distribution panel board when the main disconnect is installed at the main panel board. SEU is an unarmored service electrical 3-wire cable with 2 conductors and a neutral. SEU typically has an oval shape because the stranded neutral conductor wraps around the cable to create an oval shape. SEU cable has a neutral conductor but does not have a grounding conductor. Since neutral conductors and grounding conductors are connected at the point of service disconnect, SEU cables can only be used up to the service disconnect to avoid significant safety concerns. SER is a round service electrical 4-wire cable that typically has up to 4 conductors and a bare neutral. The cable is designed to be used in feeder panels and branch circuits. SER cables are equipped with neutral and grounding conductors, which makes them perfect for use after the service disconnect. Nomenclature and abbreviations. Alternate ways are commonly used in the electrical industry to specify wire sizes as AWG. For AWG proper could also be written as number sign 4. The number sign is used as an abbreviation for number. NO.4. NO dot is used as an abbreviation for number. NO.4 AWG. 4GA, abbreviation for gauge. OOO AWG, proper for large sizes, could also be written as 3/O, common for large sizes, which is pronounced 3/0. 3/O AWG. Number sign OOO. Number sign 3/O. Common wires used in electric power distribution in homes can be identified by a wire size followed by the number of wires used in the cable assembly. The most common type of distribution cable, NM-B, is generally written in the following 3 ways. Number sign 14/2, also written 14-2. This is a non-metallic sheathed bundle of 2 solid 14 AWG wires. The insulation surrounding the 2 conductors is white and black. This sheath for 14 AWG cable is usually white when used for NM-B wiring intended for electrical distribution in a dry location. Newly manufactured cables without a separate ground wire are obsolete. Number sign 12/2 with the ground, also written 12-2, W/GND. This is a non-metallic sheathed bundle of 3 solid 12 AWG wires having a bare ground in the middle of 2 insulated conductors in a flat-shaped NM-B yellow-colored sheath. The color is a North American industry standard for cables made since 2003 and aids identification. Number sign 10/3 with the ground, also written 10-3 W/GND. This is a non-metallic sheathed bundle of 4 solid 10 AWG wires having a bare ground and 3 insulated conductors twisted into a round shape NM-B orange-colored sheath. The insulated conductors are black, white, and red. Some cables of this type may be flat to save copper. Pronunciation. AWG is colloquially referred to as gauge, and the zeros in large wire sizes are referred to as aught. A wire that is sized 1 AWG is referred to as 1 gauge or number 1 wire. Similarly, smaller diameters are pronounced X gauge or number X wire, where X is the positive integer AWG number. Consecutive AWG wire sizes larger than number 1 wire are designated by the number of zeros. NO.0, typically written 1/0, is referred to as 1/0 wire. NO.00, typically written 2/0, is referred to as 2/0 wire. NO.000, typically written 3/0, is referred to as 3/0 wire. Know what you're talking about. Getting the terminology right will avoid a lot of "your inspector doesn't know what he's talking about" comments from local electrical contractors. Please take the time to read the article on common electrical terminology from InterNACHI's Library of Inspection Articles.